Well, I think everyone knows who Network Chuck is, but for those who have been living under a rock, do you mind taking a few minutes and introducing yourself and tell us how you got your start in the field?
Well, yes, I am Network Chuck, but you can call me Chuck, whatever. People often ask me, like, what should I call you? Just call me Chuck. I don't care. I answer to both. I'm just some dude on YouTube that makes videos about things I really enjoy and I nerd out on. So when I got started in IT, first of all, I wasn't like a nerd in high school or even like as a younger kid. I wasn't an IT person. I did not want to become anything with IT. It wasn't until maybe it was like when I was 21, I believe. I just had my first kid. I was selling toilets, which is the worst thing in the world. Like, I'm not making that up. I literally was in it. I wasn't like going door to door or anything holding toilets, right? But I was in a cubicle cold calling apartment complexes selling toilets. That's a soul crushing job. I mean, I'm sure some people love it, and I don't want to knock that, but for me, it wasn't a good fit. So I knew that this wasn't going to provide for my family. I was unhappy, and I'm like, I've got to change. So my dad was in IT, so I knew that was a thing. So I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna try this thing. So I started studying for my A plus. Between cold calls, as much as I could, I had my book open, reading it, whatever. And eventually, with enough hard work, perseverance, I did get a job on the help desk, and which changed my life because when you go from a normal, crappy job to working in IT, it's like they're paying me to do this? Are you serious? Because the whole day went by and I still want to be here. Like, that doesn't make any sense. And that was like the big eye opener for me. So I ended up working late all the time for free. Like, I wasn't being paid overtime or anything. I just wanted to. And the help desk was awesome. I loved it so much. But then I looked across the aisle and I saw some guys typing at a terminal and I'm like, huh, that looks pretty cool. They look kind of like a wizard. And they looked really important. People would go to them with all these problems. If the internet went down, everyone's freaking out and they were at their desk. And I'm like, okay, that guy looks pretty cool. So I asked him, what are you? I'm a network engineer, he says. I'm like, oh, well, can you tell me what that is? Can you show me what to do? So he did. Like, I basically became his shadow. Whenever they had a spare moment, I was sitting there right next to him going, okay, what is that? What is this? What is that? What is that? Whenever they went to the data center, whenever they have maintenance weekends, and it would go over until like 3 in the morning, I was there. Was I getting paid? No. But I was there just to learn. So doing all that got me started in IT, and it just lit a fire in me, and I eventually did become a network engineer within like a year and a half. And I'm like, this is kind of like a cheat code. Like, I started making more money than I ever thought I would ever make doing something that was actually fun. Like, and I'm sure you've had that experience, Dakota. Like, it's
Oh,
crazy.
absolutely. Yeah,
Um,
and that's the craziest thing. It's when you it's like you've unlocked like some achievement in the game, and you're like, wow, this is amazing. Yeah.
well, it's kind of like Elden Ring, right? I don't know if you've played Elden Ring, but that game's stinking hard. But if you find a guide online that'll tell you where to go, it gets pretty easy. Like, you can, I mean,
Yeah.
it's not the easiest thing in the world still, but you can progress a lot easier. So that's kind of what IT felt like to me in life was I found a guide, a cheat code, where if I get certifications, I become more valuable. I don't have to go to college. And I didn't, by the way. I don't have a degree. I could just start studying, getting experience while I'm working. And I started excelling, just getting more and more money and became valuable. And it felt weird. So I'm like, I've got to tell people about this. I'm not sure enough people know about it because when I was in high school, no one was telling me not to go to college. No one was telling me that there were all these other jobs that you could just go get right out of high school. Like, you can just, if you have experience in customer service, you can get on the help desk. I didn't know that was possible. So that's what inspired me to start doing my YouTube channel was first I just want to document my journey. If you look at my channel in my first video, first of all, I had no idea what I was doing. I think I had just started creating training videos for my company. I was the phone system guy, and we had to create training videos for the people. So we got this new camera, and I'm like, can I use it real quick? So I would go into our cabinet, our little closet, and I shut the door, and I would like go, okay, here I am. This is Network Chuck. I don't know how I came up with that name. It was so stupid. And even looking back, I'm like, why did I choose that name? I mean, I get why I chose it, but it seems silly now. But I'm like, I'm here in my closet, and here's my servers, and here's my routers. Neat, right? And like that's all I did. But as I made more videos, I'm like, this is kind of cool. I really enjoy doing this. At the time, I was a network engineer. I jumped jobs a few times, which, by the way, if you want another hack for your IT career, really any career, if you want to make more money, don't stay somewhere forever. You got to make that job
Yes.
jump. Don't do it too frequently. Every 2 years is good, but if you want that money, move because the company's going to pay you. They'll give you raises if they value you, but they're not going to give you those huge bumps that you could have. So I jumped a few times. And then eventually, so when I got my start in IT, I was watching a lot of training providers, but my favorite one was CBT Nuggets. And I'm sure all of you know about him, Jeremy Chara, my hero. Like, I would listen to that guy all the time, kept me hyped. I love it. And one day, I get a DM on Twitter from Jeremy Chara. And I was like looking at my wife, like, honey, do you know what just happened? And he's like, hey, yeah, I've been watching your videos. And I'm like, Jeremy Charles been watching my videos. Like, dude, I've been watching your videos. Like, that's so weird. And he's like, hey, you want to jump on a call? I'm like, okay, let's jump on a call. And I don't know, maybe it's weird when you jump on a call with somebody that you normally watch their videos. It's like you forget to respond because it's like I'm just used to hearing you talk, and it's just been like me watching TV or something. So it was so cool and so weird. But essentially, he was like, I like your videos. I like what you're doing. Can you come work for CBT Nuggets? Can you like maybe try out, make a few videos for us? And I'm like, no. No, I did not want to do that. I was terrified. I'm like, I was just making videos about, hey, here's the CCNA. You should get this because it'll make your life better. And that's all I knew I was doing. But they're like, hey, I think you might like training. So I tried it out. I made a few videos. They were terrible. Like, it's the worst things in the world. And I think I did a few iterations. But finally, they're like, you know what? We think you can do this. Go ahead and start doing it for us. I still said no. I'm like, I don't know if, like, I felt totally imposter syndrome. I didn't feel like I could do this at all. It was totally out of my comfort zone. And I know a lot of people feel that same way. Like, even now, whatever job you're doing, you're like, man, I feel like an idiot. You know what? Everyone does. Everyone you're around feels like an idiot. So eventually I said yes, and I just started creating training videos for CBT Nuggets, and it was the best job in the entire world. I started creating training videos. I got to help make the CCNA with Jeremy Chara, Keith Barker. It was the coolest thing in the world. Until eventually my YouTube channel just started kind of, I was doing them kind of side by side. Hobby, doing the YouTube channel, kind of like you're doing, Dakota, just doing your day job, then coming and doing YouTube. Like, man, that's tiring. I know. I feel for you. But
Yes.
it is, I remember looking back, my wife, she would give me a hard time. Like, why are you wasting your time on this YouTube stuff? Like, why are you doing that? I'm like, honey, trust me, it's going to pay off. Just trust me. And now, hey, I was right.
Yeah, exactly.
So the time you're putting in now, Dakota, is going to be worth it. But eventually my YouTube channel got so big to where it was like, I don't need to do a job anymore. I can do whatever I want to do. So I started putting more time into YouTube. And I think it was 2020, right when the pandemic happened. It just so happened that I was freed up to, like, you know what? I can quit now, which was the scariest thing I've ever done in my entire life. Because, like, when you go from not working for somebody to just working for yourself and it's all on you, oh my gosh, that's
I
so now
couldn't
I've been doing.
imagine. Like, I
So I
can't
mean,
wait, but
you
I
will one
can't
day.
imagine. Yeah.
I know you will one day. But so here it is. It's been over 2 years I've been doing this, and it's the best thing in the world. But yeah, that's kind of my origin story. I just right now I used to just do videos on network engineering, which was what my profession was. But I started branching out because IT is so big, and I just started doing things I really enjoy. Like, hey, this hacking thing, I've always thought about hacking. I never had the time to explore it because I was a network engineer. Let me try it out because now I have the time. So that's what I do. I find I'm basically like an ADHD creator. Whatever catches my attention, I do it. And
And
it just
that's
becomes.
so cool. I really admire you for being able to be so diverse, because that's an important thing people got to realize. Like, yes, there's jobs where you're siloed off to just being a network engineer, but more often than not, you see a lot of jobs where you got to wear all the hats. You got not only the network engineer, you're the security guy, you're the cloud engineer, and you got to know it all and be able to be flexible. So I think that's one really cool thing that you can offer.
Yeah, and I used to be the biggest proponent of like pick your path, whether it's network engineer or cloud or whatever, and just stick to it. Really specialize in that and don't look anywhere else. But now there's a lot to be said for being diverse.
Yeah.
Like right now, to be a really good network engineer at a lot of companies, you have to know a bit of scripting. You have to know Python. You have to know Docker and containers. That's becoming part of your life. Cloud. It all blends together and blurs. That's just how it is. And for some people, that can be overwhelming. I totally get that. So one goal I have with my YouTube channel is to try and help that burden. That's why you might see like I've done my series where I've done Python and Linux and Bash scripting. And I haven't taken them very far. I do plan to do that eventually, but I haven't taken them too far, just far enough to make people feel like, okay, I kind of know what I'm doing. I feel like I have the confidence to kind of step forward and do a few more things after that. That's my goal. Because I remember when I was a network engineer, I was just thinking about it today. I didn't know anything about Linux. Like I remember, I would Cisco CLI was all I knew. If you told me to get like out of that and get to the Linux underneath the next device, I'm like, no. And I remember like calling Cisco TAC, the support for Cisco. They would do that kind of stuff, and I'm like, you guys are wizards. I don't even know what you're doing. You're amazing. But now looking back, I'm like, I wish I would have known a bit. Like I wish someone would have just taken me the time, given me a little intro for it, and then I would have felt a little confident just to kind of build up that knowledge. So yeah, I think I spent enough time talking about what I've been doing and where I'm at. So did that answer your question?
Oh, absolutely. And, talk about an origin story. And that's something I think relatable. You went from selling toilets to, entering the IT field to teaching other people how to be successful like you. I mean, that's great. And that's really what I'm here for as well, because, I was a bulldozer operator before this. And after being in the field for 3 years, I started at the help desk. And after 3 years, I progressed to director of network operation. And I'm running the show for a local ISP. And I try to tell everyone it's not an everyday situation, but it is 100% possible if we have the willingness to learn. Like that's all it takes is be thirsty for the knowledge, and you can do it. Soak up and the information out there is readily available on YouTube from people like you. So absolutely. One of my first questions for you is, I'm really curious for what your opinion is for someone who's just looking to break into this field. What is one of the most important skills for them to learn?
Oh man. So I'm going to break the rule and give you two answers on that. What I think will make you successful. First is you have to learn on your own. We're taught in school, at least here in America, to just kind of be told what to study. Our hands are held a lot, and even through college, right? So a lot of us are like really classroom learners. In the IT field, that just can't happen for you all the time. Sure, sometimes you get that classroom, they'll put you through a boot camp, they'll do this and that, but in IT, it's learning every single day. You're never going to know everything. Every day you're going to do something new. You're going to be digging through some documentation, reading white papers, watching training videos for that new feature that your boss just asked you to implement. And you're like, sure, boss, but you have no idea what he's talking about. So you learn it that day. Like that's the job. And that's what makes it fun. But you have to learn on your own. And that's going to come in the form of like just your next certification, self-study that thing. Like find the time, cut out some time, and start studying. Yeah, you can rely on community and get people to help you, but it's that self-learning mentality that you really have to carry with you throughout your entire IT career. So start doing that now. So that's the first thing. The second thing would be communication skills. It's those interpersonal skills that are going to take you so much further than you can possibly imagine. Now, you can be a genius tech person. You can. And those guys are amazing. But I've seen so many guys who are way smarter than me be stunted because they didn't know how to communicate. Like it or not, the people in charge, they're communicators. Directors, managers, whatever. And if they're going to give you a promotion or a raise or opportunity, you have to show them that. You have to be able to communicate what you're doing. Hey, boss, I did this, this, and this. Or I don't know if you're a network engineer, and Dakota, I know you probably deal with this. You'll interface with CEOs, directors. You're going to have those interactions. And those situations are what make or break you. So I've had tons of situations to where at my companies, the CEO would call down saying, hey, my computer's not working. I was a network engineer. That was not my job to fix. But they would call me to do it because they knew I could deal with him. They knew I could talk with him. And I was like his go-to guy. Even though it wasn't my job. Like I was over there trying to program the network. His mouse was out of batteries, right? But I was there for him. it's that skill that will set you apart. And it's not just those communication skills with the higher ups. It's interfacing with customers. It's talking with people on the help desk, understanding their problems. It's written skills. When you type an email, don't be an idiot. Like use spell check. I mean, I know a lot of you maybe aren't great at typing, and I'm not the best either. So rely on spell check. We have freaking Chat GPT now. You can type it for you. Like rely on technology to help you, but just learn to communicate better. Now, I know that's kind of like, well, Chuck, how do I do that? For me, it was having a job in customer service for years. I think I had 7 different jobs in high school, all customer service, from Taco Bell, Jack in the Box, Blockbuster, Starbucks, just all that stuff, dealing with people at their worst. That really does help you. So that's why I always tell people, your first job in IT, yes, you can skip help desk. Totally can. I mean, I've seen it happen. You shouldn't, though, because that's where you learn the skills that are going to make you so successful later on. It's not just the tech, it's the people. So yeah, those are 2 things. Soft skills, I was trying to think of the term. Soft skills and learn to learn on your own.
That's amazing because, yeah, no, and there's two of my jobs in this career field. I landed purely on soft skills. Because both of my managers came back after I was hired and told me, my most current job, I was hired as a network technician, a NOC technician, and then progressed into the director level role. But after I was hired, my boss came back and told me, look, there was someone with, both the other candidates had college educations. They had college degrees and they had more technical skills than you did. But the reason I hired you is because you're a great communicator and I could tell you would integrate and be a well fit with the team. And that's why I hired you instead of these guys with college degrees. I'm a college dropout. I went to high school, graduated high school. Like right now, all I have, in all honesty, is my A+ and a Cisco certification. That's it. And I'm the director of network operation because I can communicate well. I can sit down in a board meeting and describe the super technical things we're doing to these people that really barely even know how to use their iPhone. But I can do it in a way that doesn't make it feel like I'm talking down to them. It makes them really understand what we're doing. And that's a really, really vital skill to have in the field, I believe.
Yeah, it sets you apart. It does.
Absolutely. Now, in studying, I can completely agree with that. But when it comes to studying, I know burnout and procrastination are 2 real big issues that keep people from studying. What is your advice to avoid that?
Oh, so I mean, I'm probably not the best person to ask because I'm always dealing with burnout. I always burn myself out.
I think anyone that is studying in the IT field is dealing with burnout as well. I mean, yes. You're going to get to a point where you're going to get burnt out, but how can you cope with that better?
So for me, I think there are 2 things I normally do to help myself with burnout. First of all, a lot of my burnout is around just being disorganized. So I want to do everything all the time, all at once. And I'll be, just reading Twitter and like, oh, you got to learn this now. You got to learn this. You're probably watching my videos and seeing me say, you got to learn this right now. And I'm not even helping you with that. So I'm probably causing your burnout as you're watching this. So for me, it's just getting organized with like what I actually need to do. Let me sit down and say, okay, I can only do one thing at one time. So I'm going to learn this technology. I'm going to spend the next 6 weeks doing that. And I'm going to spend 2 hours a day doing that. So doing that time and a place, organization, pacing yourself, that's what ultimately like solves my burnout. I'm like, okay, I can do this now. I know I can like wake up tomorrow morning and do that. Second, with burnout, I know it's tempting when you first start studying for a certification and you're excited. Like you're like, okay, I'm gonna wake up tomorrow morning. I'm gonna drink 16 cups of coffee and study for 8 hours before work. Like that's what you feel like, right? I'm gonna have my CCIE
absolutely.
in 2 months. Like it's what you want to do. No,
it's not achievable. No.
Yeah, stop that. It's not gonna be how much you study in each little session. It's the consistency that it's just being consistent. Coming back every single day and doing just a little bit. So that's why the biggest thing I recommend for studying is the Pomodoro method. I don't know if you've seen me talk about that, Dakota, or if you use that in your studying.
I've seen your videos and I personally have adapted it when I'm studying because I learned like if I do more than like 2 or 3 Pomodoro sessions, and I'll let you kind of describe it, but I'll start forgetting stuff. And at that point, why even bother studying? Because you're not retaining the knowledge.
Yes, because there is a point of diminishing returns where if you spend so much time studying, your efficiency just drops and drops and drops. So it's better just to pick the best time of the day where you're the perkiest, for lack of a term. Like for me, it's the mornings before anyone else bothers me. That's when I get my best studying done. Often it's only 30 minutes. So a Pomodoro session. I come in, I turn my phone on. It's a little app. I use this app called Forest because I can plant little trees while I'm doing it. It's kind of gamified. It's stupid, but I have fun with it. But you just set a timer for 30 minutes. You say no one bother me. I even have, so this is my new studio. I even have on my Stream Deck, I press the button on it. It changes my Slack status through an API to don't bother me. And then I have a light bulb, kind of like a status light outside my office here that turns to blue, which means don't bother Chuck. So I just say, shut down, don't, you gotta leave me alone. I can't do anything else but the task I have before me. Like, let's say I'm doing a try hack me thing or whatever. I'm only doing that. What that does is two things for you. First, it just forces you to start. Because like oftentimes it's the starting that's the hardest part, right? It's like, I don't want to study today. It's going to take me 3 hours to study. I'm going to have to read a whole chapter. No, you don't have to do that. A Pomodoro doesn't even have to be 30 minutes. It can be 5 minutes. Just do 5 minutes of study. That's it. Just do a little bit of something every single day. And the second thing it does is often when you start, it's kind of easy to keep going after that. It's kind of hard to stop. Usually when I do 30-minute Pomodoro session, I end up doing another one right after that. So it just kind of builds itself. But yeah, and also it does help you from doing too much because you're like, okay, I've done 3, maybe 4 Pomodoro sessions. I know it's my limit. That's it for today. I'm done. I know if I do any more, I'm not going to remember anything. So, yeah.
Absolutely. And I get that way where like when I'm studying, especially if there's like labs involved or if I'm working in a lab environment, I get so hyped up and like, oh, but if I just learn this next lesson, I could do this next part in the lab. And that gets to be so much
Oh,
fun
yeah.
sometimes. So
Oh,
really
yeah.
quick, yeah. So I want to talk about the Network Chuck Academy. What is the Network Chuck Academy?
So, as I mentioned before, what I used to love doing, and when I worked for CBT Nuggets, was creating courses. I since left them and I went more full-time YouTube. And my original intention with leaving them was to just have the freedom to create whatever courses I wanted to. I ended up getting on the YouTube rat race a bit too much and just creating YouTube videos and it just became my life, right? Network Chuck Academy is my return to creating more courses. It's something I really enjoy doing, and it's something that I want to create something that I wish I would have had when I first started. Because back we have a lot more options now as far as training. Like it's almost embarrassing how much stuff we have. But when I first started, you had only a few training options, and it was hard to stay awake. Why do I drink coffee? Because the training used to suck, and it was really hard to pay attention. So I want to create training that I wanted to have back in the day, and I want to do it in a way that's really entertaining. And that's pretty much all Network Chuck Academy is. It's just helping people find the cheat codes in life, starting from zero, and progressing through whatever career path they want to progress through. I'm not trying to replace anything or reinvent the wheel. It's just a place where I'm going to pour my content into, and hopefully everyone enjoys it. And I do want to invite other content creators to join me. So I just actually tweeted out like, hey, are there any content creators out there who want to join me in creating content? So if you know anybody, if you're watching this, Dakota, if you want to create content, let me know.
Absolutely. And that's what's, I've looked through some of the courses and you are creating a great library of different topics, and just like your website says, I have everything from network engineering because you're starting the CCNA course, which I think is fabulous because, sometimes CCNA can be a little bit heavy for someone just starting in the field and it can get dry and you really keep the energy up and alive and make me want to watch the next video. But you have hacking, cloud engineering, Python, different scripting. And I really think it's a great opportunity for someone and a resource for people to learn. And matter of fact, we're actually giving away 21-year subscriptions to the Network Chuck Academy in this video. So if you guys are interested in signing up in that giveaway, the link is down in the description and you can click on that and go sign up for that giveaway.
Yeah, and just one more thing.
Yeah.
So it's a thing that we're always expanding on and growing. So I do have a small team behind me that's helping me build it. We do have a fantastic Discord community, so if you do need help with any of the things we're teaching or going through, we got people that have your
Your
back.
Discord community
And
is a
also,
huge resource, by the way. Like it is, it's no small community. You have hundreds of people in there, and you can ask a question, and within minutes, you got a response.
yeah, it's kind of crazy. Like honestly, it runs without
Yeah.
me. Like I've got just fantastic people in there who are just incredible. And they're all volunteer. Like I don't even know why they're doing this, but they're incredible. They just give back. And like there's this new cool feature in Discord called forums, which is like that's the one thing I didn't like about Discord. It was like you couldn't have a centralized place to ask a question and see it threaded out.
Right.
They've got that now, so it's kind of cool. So we have the community aspect, and also what we do is we give 10% of profits to charity or scholarships or whatever, just to give back. And that could be in the form of giving away other training that we don't have to people. It could be paying for certification exams, or just there's a lot of programs out there that like will buy computers and STEM equipment for other countries where they don't have as much available. So we'll do stuff like that.
That's so cool. What is something people can do to really like jumpstart their career? If they're looking to make that leap of faith, what's something that can give them that competitive edge?
So that's a big question
Yeah.
because it kind of depends, right? Because depending on where you're at in your career, it's going to vary. Like what is going to make that big jump start? So for example, if you're like trying to find the job and you've been getting certifications, the best thing you can do is to start applying for a lot of jobs, build a website, start doing projects, do real world things to demonstrate that experience. I made a few videos about that. I'm pretty sure you have too, Dakota. So that would be the best thing to jumpstart. But if you're already on the help desk and you're like, man, I really want to move up, the best thing for you might be connecting with the network engineers on staff or the system engineers or the cloud engineers or the programmers, whoever it is, connecting with them. Because, hey, like, I don't know if you know this, like right next door or maybe the cubicle over is someone who's doing the job you want to have. And most of the time, they're willing to help you out. Most of the time, when there's a job available on that staff, they're going to look within. They're going to look over the help desk and go, hey, is there anybody over there who maybe wants to try this? I used to do that. When I was a network engineer, I would look at the help desk and go, okay, anybody there have promise? And really, it wasn't like I wasn't even checking for aptitude. I was just checking for interest.
Yeah.
Like, are you hungry? Do you want to learn? Because I'll stinking teach you. And I was surprised, like not many people were looking for it. So if you're kind of in that boat, you might be rare. So just take the opportunity. Reach out to somebody. That'll jumpstart. And then there was a third one I had in mind too. I'm trying to remember what it was. It may just be learning a new technology. So like maybe you're a little stale or stagnant, and maybe you've been doing network engineering, but you're only doing Cisco stuff. Branch out a little bit. Maybe do some Python. Do that next level skill that'll jump you up to maybe net DevOps or just DevOps or cloud. Because I mean, like it or not, IT is always evolving, always changing, and if you're not moving with IT, you will get left behind. It just happens that way. You don't always have to be like ahead of the curve, but you want to be with it. So you want to make sure that, like, hey, there is a thing called cloud, and it is impacting everything. And a lot of companies are moving that way. But also understand there's a lot of companies who keep their stuff on-prem too. So just be diverse. Don't be afraid to start learning new things. Yeah, did I answer the question? I think it did.
Absolutely, yeah. No, and absolutely. And one thing I like to tell people and to kind of keep in mind is a lot of times don't view certifications for your current position. Look at certifications for that next job you want to land, because that's really what's going to help you. If you know, like if you're on the help desk, you want to be a network engineer, start looking at what certifications network engineers need to have and start studying for those certifications. And you'd also find that also 9 out of 10 times that your employer is probably willing to pay for you to learn those skills to get that certification, because it's really going to help them out. Because you become certified and the next networking engineer position opens up. Wow, we already know this guy has all the knowledge he needs to get started. So we're going to offer the job to him. So absolutely.
Yeah, 100%. And I used to do this when I was I don't know if you ever did this, but when I was on the help desk, during spare moments between tickets and calls, I would just like go to like dream companies, companies that were on my list I would love to work for one day. For me, that was like Starbucks, obviously, right? It would be Carnival Cruise Lines, Disney. So I would go to their job boards and just search like CCNA or network engineer and look at what they have. I'm like, oh my gosh, they're hiring a network engineer at Disney, and they're at Walt Disney World, which is crazy. And here's the qualifications. And I'm like, I'm getting that right now. They want the CCNP. I'm getting my CCNP. I want to work with Mickey Mouse. That's my life. So for me, that was exciting and fun to do. That was motivation, and your advice is perfect. Start studying for the job you want, and that kept me crazy motivated. And I guess that goes back to kind of burnout too. Is a burnout? It's almost unavoidable
Yep.
sometimes, but what helps get you through it is having your why front and center right in front of you. Which your why is like, why are you doing this? Is it money? That's fine. For most people, it's bigger. It's like I want to provide for my family, which was me. Like now I have 6 kids, so my why has gotten bigger and bigger and bigger. But at the time, I had 1 kid, 2 kids as I was progressing through my career, and that was a big enough why just to progress me forward. Maybe it's like you just want to start a family in one day.
Yep.
Maybe it's that you're in a sucky job and you hate it and it's killing you every single day, and you want to just be able to afford a better life for yourself. Put that why right in front of you. I remember a buddy of mine. Actually, no, this was Ernest, the Cisco Panther. If you guys remember him, he's been on my channel a few times. It's been a long time ago. But he was a beast. I think he got a CCNP, CCNA all in like 1 year.
That's crazy.
He would put on his desktop background, he had like a Lamborghini or something, or some kind of like a Mercedes Benz, and that's what kept him motivated. That's what kept him going. And he did get that Mercedes Benz. I remember when he got it. It was amazing. But yeah, that kind of stuff helps you out a ton.
Absolutely. Keeping that end goal in mind always, and when you're in your deepest, darkest burnout periods, or, you're just like, why did I make this change? Or why am I doing this? Remember what, that end goal. And once you achieve it, because, sometimes it's a little rare to achieve your dream job. But like for me, I knew I wanted to be a network engineer, or a network admin, I should say. I knew I wanted to be a network admin, and I overshot and became a director of network operations. And, after I did that, about 6 months in, I kind of had the realization, I'm like, crap, I achieved my career goal. I can't be without a career goal. What is the next step after this? What am I going to do with my career? So I'm still kind of figuring that out, to be honest with you, because I love my job
Now,
so
let me ask
much.
you a question.
Yeah,
I'm curious. Let me ask you a question. So when you reached that goal, did you kind of get depressed a little bit?
no, actually, I got super pumped. Like I had to
Oh,
I
really?
got
Okay.
when I got there, I got super pumped, and I had to tell everyone. Like I'm still pumped about it.
So
Yeah,
yeah, there's a
yeah.
celebration period, like touchdown dance,
Yeah.
right? But like afterwards, when you're like, what's next? Did that
When
depress you a little bit?
Yes, in a sense. Yeah, I guess yes, I did, because the next natural career progression after that step isn't really in tech anymore. It's more into management. I've kind of hit the top
Hmm.
level there, where okay, if I start progressing up this career ladder more, I'm going to move away further from tech, and that kind of depressed me a little bit, because I know I'm not the person that can stay stagnant in one job for the rest of my life. I know at some point I will make a career change, and I enjoy tech so much. I want to make sure that's within tech. So I might have to slightly shift and work more cloud or something like that. But it is slightly depressing that in my current career path, I'm going to start moving away more from tech and more into administration. So I don't know if that is that the answer
Mm.
you're looking for or not.
Yeah. Because like for me, it was, and I think my brother and if people I know have had the same problem in IT. It's very, very possible to reach your goals a lot faster than you
Yeah,
anticipated or even realized could happen. So it happens so quickly, and you're like, "Oh my gosh, I did it! Now what?
yeah,
I've done everything I wanted to do. Now what do I do with my life?" Because like for me and for ambitious individuals like yourself, it's like you have to keep moving. We kind of derive our happiness from like that next goal, from the striving, the working, and when you reach it, if you don't have anything else going on, you're you can be kind of in a slump, and you can't be that in
no.
IT because IT you got to keep moving. You got to keep moving. Be excited about it. You got to have the passion. So yeah, so I'm curious, Dakota. It's kind of turning into a reverse interview. What is next for you? Are you gonna? Is your goal to try and become a YouTuber more and more? Maybe that's
I
the jump off point.
I
You could
think
do it full time.
absolutely. I think that is the next career goal. I can tell you it's going to be a lot further out than I probably most people, just because I want to make sure, I have a family of 3, so I can kind of relate to you. I'm halfway there, of your family, but I want to make sure when I make that next step, I want to make sure it's a secure step for my family, because that is really what keeps me going every day, is being able to provide that roof over their head and everything. So I think the next career stepping stone for me is YouTube, is teaching, because I've had so many people come and tell me outside of YouTube even that just the way I teach, the way I describe things is so great that, they're telling me all the time, I need to follow that, path and become a teacher and teach these things. And I really enjoy helping people learn things and learn technology and get their starts in their career. So that is the next goal for me, but that's like the 5-10 year plan, not the next couple of years, I think.
I don't know. I could see it being in the next year, 2 years.
It's possible. It is absolutely possible.
Yeah.
If people want to find like more of your content, where do you recommend them finding you? Obviously, you have a huge following on YouTube.
Yeah, so YouTube is a good place to find me. That's where I put most of my things. You can find me on Twitter and Instagram. I do post there sometimes. I do have a pretty big TikTok following by accident. I didn't really try to. It just happened. I'll have my video editors create like shorts of my content. So I've got like 400,000 followers on TikTok. So if that's your thing, which I know TikTok can be addicting. So if you want to just go over there and follow me and get some good stuff mixed in with the cat stuff and the weird things and the dances and the craze, I don't know. TikTok's a weird world, man. But yeah, and then beyond that, Discord's a great place to find community. You will go far in tech with community, especially with jobs. I mean, I'm telling you, the best jobs of your life will come from people you know and people you befriend and get to know, because, like it or not, yes, you can look at jobs and they'll have lists of things that people want and everything. And it's very technical, very straightforward. But at the end of the day, people hire people they like, people they know. It's all about face-to-face interactions. So the more you know people, the better. So don't be afraid to jump into community. So that's where you can find me. Where else? Of course, Network Chuck Academy, if you want to join that. That's my next big thing. It also helps me do more of YouTube stuff. So it helps me create more courses, more YouTube, more of everything. And oh yeah, coffee. If you want coffee, I sell coffee too.
Awesome. Yeah.
So,
Amazing coffee at that too. So
I'll have to send you some more, Dakota. We're actually, I can't, I shouldn't say it right now. We're launching some new coffee within the next week or so. We got a new roaster. It's fantastic. So I'll send you some.
absolutely.
Give it a little
I
try.
appreciate that. And again, thank you for taking all this time, and thank you for donating to our holiday training giveaway. Is amazing. When I heard that you guys were able to donate to this, I was so excited.
We're so happy to, Dakota. I appreciate what you do, and thank you for doing this big giveaway again. I know how much work it is, so everyone make sure you like, subscribe, hit that notification bell for Dakota, right now. Okay.